They roll coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce Young could win an MVP if he could just learn to throw the ball on time every time, just like in this clip. Okay, so obviously Bryce Young goes back to pass. Look at this. Multiple steps to go back, rifles it. When he rifles his ball, look how close the closest defender is. Not anywhere near him. Jameson Williams, obviously one of the best receivers in the league now, especially for a wide receiver too. But in college, he was elite. And that clip came from this discussion that I began to have about Bryce Young and what he had in college. Shout out to Trey_MJ_8_again. Bryce dominated with deep threats in college, but yet they gave him big wide receivers now. Then he did this against Miami in the opener, 94 yards to the house. And just for people that think that Jameson Williams, just had a good year, that year with Alabama, 79 receptions for 1,572 yards. Average yards per reception is 19.9 with 15 touchdowns and 104.8 yards per game. That is insane. Now let's compare it to what he does in the NFL now. I mean, I'm not going to lie. His stats really didn't get that much worse. Look at that crazy average, 14.8, 17.3, and 16.9. For context, that means that he averages more yards per reception than Jamar Chase. Now, did I make this video to try and say that Jameson Williams is Jamar Chase? No, because he's not. But honestly, he's a guy that Carolina should target, because if Bryce Young is ever going to be able to sniff an MVP, or hey, if this team is ever going to be able to take that next step, I either need Teteroa McMillan to clone himself into Jameson Williams, or we just need to go get him. Regardless, I want to see how Bryce Young has looked this year as compared to that video that we started with. You saw it early. He immediately put his foot into the ground and drilled the ball downfield. Obviously, like I said, not a guy in sight. So that's a little bit different in the NFL where you need to get tight window throws, i.e. the Packers game. Shout out to this clip. But even with this horrible interception, I guess I can't say it was 100% his fault. The wind was a tiny factor, but regardless, in college, maybe the defender is a little bit behind him. But in the NFL, you are going to be draped with guys most of the time. Zone is really the only place where you're going to see guys running wide open, unless somebody just straight up falls over themselves, like this clip with Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, dude shook him out of his boots. But regardless, let's see this. Let's see Bryce put his foot in the ground and deliver the ball on these long throws. In fact, I went up and pulled up a ton of all 22 footage. And after looking at all that all 22 footage, especially on deep throws, Bryce Young has the ability to read the defense, to go out there and give us anticipatory throws, to go out there and just deal. But that's with guys that he trusts. When he sees a guy like Teteroa McMillan drop a ball like this in the end zone on a play that, to be honest, Bryce Young, it was pretty much perfect. TMac just didn't come down with the ball. And then when Bryce goes to throw it the next time, he's a little concerned. Man, I can't really put this in that tight window because if you don't get it, it's another interception on me. It's my fault now. So while I think Bryce Young is in an interesting situation, I think this Saints game will tell us everything. I think the Saints game will tell us which Bryce Young we're going to get for the rest of the season. But either way, I think the progression says one thing. I wouldn't be necessarily upset at a second round wide receiver in this next draft.